I highly recommend when you first start out to work from your home or your apartment. And for those who already have a setup, I want to give you a little bit more organized setup for those who want to make a living doing collar replacement. The same will apply to a custom shirt maker if you're taking the complete course. But when I first started, the only thing I had was a commercial used machine. I think I spent $300 for it. I had a buttonhole. It was a JC Penney. I think I spent $190 for it. I had a table, foldable table, 6 foot by about 26 inches wide. I spent about $30 at the time. This was way back, or less. And of course, I had a chair, and I had somewhat good lighting. And I didn't have a lot of room, so I used to fold my table up and put it in the closet. And the little machine, home machine, I just used for buttonholes. That's all I used it for, was buttonholes. So I could put that on the floor, and whenever I needed to make buttonholes, I would put it on top of my commercial machine. I like the commercial machine because it's got enough room to lay your shirts flat. This particular machine has a knee guard, which I think is essential if you're going to do it professionally. And the last thing I highly recommend is to make yourself a pad to put on the table. Now, on this particular table, mine used to cover the whole table, which was 6 foot long by 26-inch wide. And the reason being is I could iron on it, I could do my cutting, and I could do my pattern drafting. And it was a godsend. It was beautiful. And of course, I had my home iron, which I bought at the grocery store. In those days, you used to be able to buy no irons with no holes in the bottom. In other words, they were non-steam. They pretty well disappeared. You might find them here and there occasionally, but I used to use that type of iron at that time. I think they were about $8, and I'd go through about half a dozen a year because of the way I use them. And the last thing that I bought was a water bottle, a spray bottle, and of course I had a square and a see-through ruler and some scissors, and a lot of the tools I accumulated over the years. And I just want to make it a point that you don't have to buy all this at one time. If you're someone looking to change careers, I always say keep your job. I show you how to reach a break even point so you can switch careers, or if you have this setup, when you retire from your present job, you could make money on the side in retirement as passive income. So accumulate these tools little by little. I have a list of where you can buy a lot of these things. There's a tutorial on how to make a pad. Basically, all that is a pillowcase with padding inside. Make it any width and any length you want. And then, of course, we'll have a supply list where you can buy threads and miscellaneous tools all during the course. At any time, if you have a question, please send us an email. We're always eager to answer your questions. And that's basically all I have to say about the workroom setup. I always say buy what you can afford. If you have a home machine all right now, that's all you have, then by all means get your training, get your knowledge with the home machine. But ultimately, if you want to make a living at it, I'd highly recommend either you buy a used or a new single needle machine, industrial machine. It'll speed up things. It'll make things easier for you. Ultimately, if you start doing real well, you may end up buying a commercial buttonhole and a commercial button sewer. But that's not necessary. I know people that have been doing it for 10 years and have never owned commercial machines at all and make a decent living. So that's all I have to say on the workroom setup.